Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke. I'm gonna get right into this so I don't lose my train of thought. I just had another insane revelation that everything happens for a reason, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. So in December of 2016, well actually November, I started looking at birth control methods because I had just moved in with my boyfriend actually, and he was very insistent that I get on some type of birth control. Even though I had been on the pill for 4 years, from the time I was 16 to the time I was 20, and then I stopped taking the pill because I was just like, I'm so over it, I'm all natural. This is also the time that I stopped wearing makeup and bras. If you go way back in my videos, you'll see that. She says in a bra and makeup. Anyway, we were gonna move in together, and I had been off of birth control for about a year and a half. And he was like, I would really feel a lot more comfortable. I would really like it if you would get on some kind of birth control. And the only one that I was willing to go on, I had done so much research, and I'm not saying that any birth control is bad, whatever, you do you, I'm not trying to attack your methods, but so the only birth control method that I found that I was willing to try was the copper IUD, because it was non-hormonal and it wouldn't mess with my already kind of craziness. So I was just like, yeah, this will work. I can do this. And I went in, I got everything done. It was so awful and so painful and so horrible, but they ended up doing this exam on me to see if it would fit, basically, if my cervix was deep enough. And they did this exam. I had done everything else. I was all set to get it inserted, but they just had to do this last step to make sure I could, and I couldn't because my cervix was not deep enough, tall enough, wide enough, whatever it is. And I was devastated because I was like, well, what the heck am I supposed to do now? I don't want to go on any other birth control method. This sucks. This is the only one that was natural that I was willing to do. And I was peeved because I was like, all natural, I'm vegan, I don't like things in my body and such, but I ended up saying, okay, the only other one that I'm willing to try is the Nexplanon, the arm implant. And I have talked about it on this channel before, maybe not as in depth as I should have, but it was, backtrack. I got it inserted on December 26th of 2016. And the next following probably 5 or 6 months were the worst of my entire life. Not only did I have mood swings, horrible mood swings, I was having panic attacks all throughout the night, till 6 in the morning every single night. And I was always bloated. I never experienced a big weight gain because I think I've maxed out my highest weight that I can be. I think that that's already a thing that's happened. But then yeah, it was horrible, and the worst part was that I was bleeding. Not just spotting, no honey, not spotting. I was literally bleeding solid for 9 months straight until I got it removed. Okay, so I'm just gonna wiggle my arms a little bit because that was starting to hurt my arms. So, back to my story. So, I was bleeding for 9 months straight. I was always cranky. I was so moody. I was having horrible panic attacks. My anxiety and depression got worse than they've ever been in my entire life. My sex drive was way down, and never mind. I was going to say a quote that my mom said, but she'd get so mad at me if I said it, so I won't. But anyway, now you're all going to be so curious. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and I ended up getting it removed at 9 months. The Nexplanon is supposed to stay in for 2 years, and I ended up paying to get it removed at 9 months because it was that bad, you guys. It was so, so awful. And I was thinking, somebody asked me today, they were like, hey, I know that you had the Nexplanon. Can you tell me about that? Where did you get it in? And blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I would tell you where I got it in, but it was the worst mistake of my life. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and I told her the whole story. And then I realized there are no mistakes. There are no coincidences. Everything happens for an exact reason. And I was like, well, what the hell reason could that have been? This was the worst time in my entire life. This was the worst thing I've ever been through. I wrote a post today about how I have wrinkles. See those? That's not even with me doing anything. That's with me doing something. But I have wrinkles at 22 years old because of the time that I had the Nexplanon in, because I was so depressed. I was bawling my eyes out, sobbing every day like this, right? And so I got wrinkles. And it's not just, ooh, I have smile lines, you know, it's like I have horrible wrinkles, or at least what I view as horrible. And I made a post on Instagram, on my Instagram, about that today, because I was just like, well, I made it through crippling depression and panic attacks for a solid 6 months, but hey, at least I got these free wrinkles, am I right? But yeah, and I was just telling her, like, oh, this was the most awful thing. And that's when it dawned on me. It happened for a reason. Going through that horrible depression, that horrible time where I couldn't work, because I was so depressed after getting that Nexplanon put in. And I'm not saying it's all because of the Nexplanon, okay? Don't come at me, Nexplanon people. But I am saying I find it pretty coincidental that about 3 weeks after I got that put in, I experienced the worst time in my entire life. And it was clear that the Nexplanon was affecting me hormonally in a negative way, because I literally never stopped bleeding for that 9 months that I had it in. So clearly it was already affecting my body in a kind of funky way. I just don't think it was coincidental that I had a mental breakdown. And because I was having a mental breakdown, I literally could not work. I could not leave my house. I couldn't leave my room because I was so mentally just done. I was done, and there was nothing I could do about it. And because I couldn't work, because CJ was the sole provider for our household, we literally got into so much debt. And that's just the truth. That is straight up the truth. I will not lie about that. We got into so much debt, and we are still climbing, dragging ourselves up this hole trying to get out of it. It was so bad, you guys, so bad. And it all happened for a reason. It all happened for a reason. Me getting my little cervix measured and finding that it couldn't fit inside me. The one non-hormonal birth control method that I wanted, the one method that I was like willing to settle for, and it didn't work. And the one that I settled for next, the only other one that I was willing to get, caused the worst time in my life to make me stronger, to make me more financially aware, financially, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not smart. I want to use a smarter word than smart. But you know what I'm saying? It taught me so much about debt, about money, about what it actually means to thrive. Because I thought that I was doing well until this happened. And then, it brought me down to my lowest low. My absolute lowest low. So it forced me to climb my way out of it, to claw and scratch and grab a hold of anything that I could to get me out of that horrible, devastating situation that I'm still climbing out of. And if I hadn't gone through all that, if all that crap hadn't happened to me, where would I be now? What would I be like now? These wrinkles wouldn't be here, honey. Oh no, they would not be here. But you know what else wouldn't be here? That's the word I'm looking for, financial intelligence that I've gained. I thought that I knew a lot about money. That's because I always had it. I never had to struggle or get out of debt or pay bills, you know, like big bills, right? I never had to call companies and be like, hey, listen, I swear I'll pay you. Please don't shut off my stuff, right? Like I wouldn't have had to go through that. You know how much that's gonna help me down the line in the long run when, positive affirmation, when I'm filthy rich? Right? When I make all my money and I'm successful in my own personal business, and when I'm like learning how to navigate through that business world by myself, do you know how much the shit that I've been through is gonna help me? It's gonna help me so much, because I know what it's like to have nothing. I know what it's like to literally have nothing. Nothing. And to have to care for a dog, for myself, for my home. You guys, my mind was just blown. I'm sorry that I'm freaking out on you here, but it literally blew my mind. And I am so, shockingly enough, grateful that this all happened. I am so grateful that I wasn't able to get the copper IUD that I wanted, that I was forced to get something else, even though I was like, why am I being forced to make this decision? And of course, he didn't hold a gun to my head or anything, but he was like, I want you to put something in your body that you don't want there. And that's that. And I was like, okay, so I made that decision, and I'm like, why did I make that decision? Why did I stoop to that level? Why didn't I hold my ground and say, no, I'm not getting anything? Because I couldn't do that, because I wasn't supposed to do that, because I was supposed to get the stupid Nexplanon implant, and I was supposed to get into the worst depression of my life so I could climb up and see what it's like to be happy again. So I could get to the worst financial point in my life so I could climb up and learn what it's like to not have money, so that when I do have money in the future, I know what to do with it. I know how to keep it. I know how to keep it safe. I know how to invest it to make more. I know how to get by with very little so that the stuff that I do make, the money that I do have, I can save it for my children. You guys, blowing my own mind over here. My quote over here on my chalkboard says, I'm going to make a very beautiful life for myself no matter what it takes. And sometimes it takes a situation like that where you are just in a solid 6 months of panic attacks, a solid 6 months of crying yourself to sleep, waking up in the middle of the night, having a big freak out, and going back to bed. I was sick too, you guys. I was so sick. I would wake up with the most horrible stomach pains that I would have to get up, crawl to the shower because I couldn't even walk, lay in the shower under the hot water and fall asleep there. And then what would wake me up is the water being like the hot water running out and the cold water freezing, waking me up. And then I would have to crawl back into bed and ask CJ to wake up, even though he had to wake up 2 hours later for work. And he had to wake up, go make me a hot pad that I could put on my stomach to help me fall asleep. This was every single night, you guys. And if I hadn't gone through that, where would I be now? I was thinking I would be so much happier. Me and CJ would have had many less problems. That's not good grammar. I was an English major, come on. But you know what I mean? We would have had so many less struggles, and I think, we would have been so much happier in the long run. But would we? Would we? I don't think so, yo. I don't think so. And if you're wondering what kind of birth control I use now, I don't use anything except natural cycles. I wish that this was sponsored. I'll leave a link in the description if you do want to learn more about it, or if you want to get natural cycles. It's basically like this temperature. It's a thermometer, and you take your temperature every morning, and it kind of monitors your cycle, and it tells you when you are fertile and when you're not. So you can use it to help you get pregnant or to help you not get pregnant. Right now, I bet you can tell what I'm using it for, but someday I'll be able to use it to help me find my fertile days and get pregnant and have a family and make that family the best that it absolutely can be. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't gone through this struggle, because I wouldn't have learned the stuff that I've learned. Everything happens for a reason. I hope that this kind of blew your mind like it blew mine, but honestly, since it happened to me and not you, maybe it didn't, I don't know. But my hand is super sweaty. I'm getting really hot, and I better get going, guys. But thank you so much for watching. Follow all my social medias linked in the description, and check around my channel for different things like ASMR content to help you relax, to help ease your anxiety, and recipe videos and food healthy videos to help you stay fit and live your best life. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.